Hello, welcome to Where's Wilmington. I'm Lisa Capalla. I'm sure you know that because you watch this show all the time. But if you don't, you're going to watch it today. I am sure of that because we have some fascinating people here. They're going to be talking about something called pickleball. Now, I know maybe growing up your mother said that's a fine pickle you've gotten yourself in. Well, these guys are in a really fine pickle. They're actually in a pickleball league. So let's start by introducing our guests. We have Peter Piper, pickleball player. Say that 5 times fast. And the pickleball ambassador. Welcome, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.
I don't see you have all your medals on today, but I'm sure that's because you're in studio.
I'm humble.
Excellent. Next to him, we have Suzanne Crooker. She is also a pickleball enthusiast. And next to her, I'm sure you all know Tom Pizzera, man about town in Wilmington, who also plays pickleball. So let's start right off with what the heck is pickleball?
Well, pickleball is a game that's played with a paddle.
Right.
And it's a little oversized ping pong paddle. And for a ball, we use a wiffle ball. It's played on a tennis-like court. The net is 2 inches shorter than a regular tennis court. And we usually play in doubles. You only score points when you serve. It's a fabulous game. It's really been a big, very popular game with people over the age of 50. But all ages can play. What's great about it is that you can compete against your children, your grandchildren. It brings everybody together, and we have a lot of fun.
Excellent. Now, would you say pickleball is a hybrid of badminton and tennis?
I would say it's a combination of ping pong, badminton, and tennis. Yes.
Excellent. Now, how did you get introduced to pickleball, and how did you become the ambassador?
Well, I was a table tennis player. And I hadn't played for a long time, and I had turned 60, and I'm sitting on the couch and watching too much TV and playing too much on the computer, saying it's time that I got a little bit more active. And somehow on YouTube, I found this video about pickleball. And I said to myself, that's the game for me. And I said, where do they play? And I found that they play in Andover. I went up to the Y in Andover, and I took to the game immediately. I'm hooked. I'm a nut about it.
You're addicted.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you said that rather than me.
We'll have to have Pickleball Anonymous.
But yes, yes. I'd be the first member.
Excellent.
And how I became ambassador is because I love the game so much. I want to promote it. I want to be able to play close to home. I've been driving sometimes to Litchfield, New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire to play. So I thought it might be a good idea to bring it closer to home.
Excellent. Now, that brings me to how did Wilmington get involved with pickleball? How did the league arise here in Wilmington? And is it actually a league?
Well, we fortunately have the guy with us who can speak to that because there wouldn't be pickleball in Wilmington unless Tom brought it back.
All right, Tom Pizzera, tell us about how pickleball came to Wilmington.
Well, unlike Peter, I didn't see it on YouTube. I happen to go to Florida every year for a couple of months to a place called the Villages, which is basically the home and the heart of pickleball.
Did you know they have 108 pickleball courts in Orlando near there?
I knew that. I tried to tell people that.
It's a lot.
It sounds crazy because, well, it's a big place. There's 100,000 people there. But the first year I went there, I would be, you know, walking along or driving along, and what appeared to be tennis courts, but they had green screens in front of them so you can't see inside. And I'd hear this, and I said, well, finally I looked in and I saw them playing pickleball. I took a few lessons, I liked it, and when I came back to Wilmington, I tried to get my friends to play, and everybody laughed at the name, pickleball. I says, please, give it a shot, try it. We set up, through the rec department, we set up a court a couple of summers ago at a tennis court at one of the middle schools. And then, luckily, Villanova Hall became available through the St. Thomas Church, and the ceiling was high enough. We laid out a court, started playing, and little by little we got a few more people to join us, and then Peter got wind of it and kind of took over, you know, kind of getting upset about that, but no, Peter's been great.
Excellent.
And we've made a video about the game, and we've gone from there.
Excellent. Now, Suzanne, ladies play this game, which it's nice, I guess, to know that women can play the game too. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, they play.
Because I know there's Jill that plays along with you that wasn't here tonight. How do you find the competitive level is, being that it's a, you know, a male and female teams?
I don't find that an issue at all. because you can play at any level, and I find, like with tennis, that you can play. If you're playing people who are not as good as you can find other things that you can work on so that it doesn't become a non-competitive game. Which brings me to
the question, which of you is the best player?
I am.
I am.
You too. Okay, you must be the best referee then. That makes sense.
I can keep score.
Excellent. Hey, that's more valuable than playing well, because how are you going to know if you won?
I think it's worth mentioning, too, Bill Kane and Jimmy Buckley.
Okay, yep.
Both Wilmington residents who have really played a big part, along with Tom, in bringing pickleball to Wilmington.
Excellent. And, so now, go ahead, Tom.
Mr. Buckley he's the one who teaches us how to serve.
Are you being facetious?
Yes, I am.
I see. It's an underhand serve or an overhand serve?
It's an underhand serve.
Okay, and it has to be below the waist?
It does.
Right. That's
okay, and that's why Mr. Buckley has trouble with that?
No, it's just an inside joke.
All right. Well, I guess we will have to
He plays as well as anybody, believe me.
Okay. So we're going to look at some footage of the game, actually, and how it's played in a minute. But it seems like a very active game, and you said that a lot of folks who are seniors play it. Do you find that it's really tough on your knees and really exhausting to play the game?
Well, I think initially when you begin to play, you're running all over the court, and then you find there's certain places to position yourself so you're not running or as active.
So like strategy almost.
Strategy.
Okay.
And one of the nice things about this game is that placement overcomes power.
Meaning? Meaning
that if you can put the ball where you want to put it, it doesn't matter how hard you hit it. It's where you put it that's most important.
Okay.
So it is strategic.
And isn't life the same way?
Isn't it?
Yes. Suzanne, what does one wear to this pickleball
One
thing?
can wear anything one desires.
I've seen some pretty interesting outfits, which you folks are going to get to see when we take a look at the footage in a few minutes. So obviously it's casual athletic wear.
Comfort trumps.
Okay. You don't need special footwear, though? I guess sneakers. Would be the footwear of choice, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why did they call you Piper?
Well, Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers.
Yes, I've heard that.
And I talk about pickleball so much that when I'm with my children, I tend to stop and talk to strangers, and I notice that my children are kind of pulling away because I embarrass them. So that was the first sign.
And you're sure it's pickleball that's causing the embarrassment? I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, because here's Dad talking about pickleball to some stranger again.
Okay.
So my daughter made this shirt for me called the Piper.
I see.
And unfortunately, I have a good friend who's a librarian, and the school librarian to boot. Okay. And she told me that the people following the Piper were actually rats. So that was a little
true.
That was a little upsetting.
Well, I suppose you can rehabilitate them after you teach them how to play pickleball.
And what I did, that's exactly what I said. Right. Give them a racket, and if they can play, bring them on.
Excellent. So you're the Pied Piper of pickleball?
Yes.
Probably?
Yes, according to my daughter.
For you? Enough peace. You know what? Let's take a look at that footage, because I think we're a little bit into the program here, and I really want you to see what the game is about so that we can really have some more meat in this episode of Where's Wilmington. So we're going to take a look at some footage that Tom Pizzera shot at Villanova Hall. Tom, can you set the clip up for us? Tell us a little bit about the game we're going to see.
Yeah, well, basically it's just under 10-minute clip, and it's just basically it describes the game as it's going on. Right. And luckily we had one game we played. The gang played till 7, and it didn't take that long. And I try to explain the rules and the type of equipment we're using, and basically that's what it's about.
So that way, rather than us telling you, you're going to get to see it. Is there a fee to join your group that plays?
In Wilmington, there isn't. But most other places where we play, there are.
Okay. And is there an age limit or an age requirement?
No.
Excellent. And when do you play? So that folks that are watching, and we'll say this again, when do you actually play?
The hall is available right now, Monday through Thursday, usually about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That could change depending on what other people are using it. But right now, Monday through Thursday, we don't play every day. We communicate, and we'll go when everybody can make it. Right.
Well, it's a pretty stressful game. I mean, as far as playing, it looks very intense. As far as I see people sweating and stuff.
That's the point. You don't have to be in super shape, and it's not anywhere near as stressful probably as tennis. because these guys are tennis players, and they can speak for that. But I don't think it's that stressful. I think it's fun. It's just enough exercise, and you can play at the level or the speed you want to play, and play with the people that play at your level.
Right. You have a good time. It's
what's really great is people who play very well will basically tutor you if you don't play that well. So it's a great.
Excellent.
It's a great sport.
All right, well, let's take a look at some of this pickleball. We're going to see some footage that Tom Pizzera has brought us of people playing the game pickleball. So take a look at that, and we'll be back with more of Where's Wilmington right after this.
Peter, who's in the frame right now, is actually an ambassador for the game. He's been putting on clinics all around. I think he had one in North Reading recently, one in Charlestown, and we had one actually during the 4th of July week here in Wilmington. This is an official pickleball court layout. It's 20 feet wide by 44 feet long. The net in the center divides each half, and you can see the no volley zone, which is 7 feet from the center on each side of the court. It's basically the exact same size as a badminton court. The net on the sideline is 36 inches above the floor. That's true for both sides of the court, obviously. The center of the net is 34 inches above the floor. We've got a beautiful portable net here. We're at Villanova Hall, by the way. All right, Jill's going to show you the serve in pickleball. Unlike tennis, the pickleball serve has to be below the waist. There's no overhand serves. Jill, show them how high you can. That's about as high as the racket can be. All right, give us a serve. The paddles today are a composite of some type, graphite, etc. The ball is about the size of a wiffle ball, but has no slotted holes, so it plays true. There you go, that's a perfect serve. Bill's going to demonstrate the serve. Now, Bill's serve is a little more sidearm, but it's still below the waist. Here we go again. Below the waist. Perfect serve. Pickleball is mainly a doubles game. You can't play singles. I've watched some singles matches, but most often you will find people play this game doubles. The first serve is always starts from the right side. So Peter serves from the right side, and if they get the point, you only get a point when you serve. Now, once you get a point, you switch sides with your partner. You switch sides, not ends, with your partner. They get another point. Notice he switches sides with his partner again. You'll notice both players advance to the blue line as soon as they can. As soon as they get the opportunity, that's where you want to be. You'll notice the players will run up to the blue line, but never step over it. That's a perfect example. Excellent play there. You notice Bill stayed behind the blue line. You notice Jill stepped in front of it, but because the ball bounced in front of her, she was allowed to step in front of the blue line or into the non-volley zone. When all four players are up at the blue line, you want to keep that ball low. You don't want to bring it up higher than the top of the net, because if you do, you're going to pay the price. As I said, if they make a mistake, they pay the price. He holds his serve until he faults. He just got another point. Switches sides with his partner. He will hold that serve until he faults, or till his team faults. Got another point. I believe that's 4. The score is actually 4-0 now. I believe that went to the other side. He's just lost his serve. The other team starts from the right-hand side. The serve is made cross-court and must clear the non-volley zone. And I believe the other team got a point. You notice the players on the other side switch sides. I should say players on the other end switch sides. They got that point. You notice they're switching sides again. Peter's team got that fault, and the other side now gives the serve to their second man. And I believe Peter's side got that fault, and the serve now goes to his team. He, being on the right side, is the first server. I believe that was a fault on Peter's team. His partner, though, becomes the second server. Each team gets 2 servers. When I say 2 servers, I don't mean 2 serves. Each person gets to serve and holds their serve until their team faults. And she being the second server, their team just faulted. The other team takes the serve, and it's the man on the right side who starts it. Or the person on the right side. The other team faulted, and now their second server takes it. The other team got that point. The players switched sides on the other team. Holds his serve. I think the other team faulted. I'm not. Yeah, that's true, because Jill is taking the serve, being on the right side. I hope you can understand. It may seem complicated, but actually every time you get a point, you switch sides. You'll notice Jill and Peter just switched sides, and their team got that point. They got the point because the other team's fault occurred while Jill's team was serving. Serving team gets a point. And I guess that's the end of that game. I lost track of the score. I think you might understand how it's done. It's really actually very simple. It's a great game. It's a good exercise, and you don't have to be a senior to play. Jill and Bill are still working, and I believe they're in their 40s. We all play very well. There you go. Bill is moving the portable net. It's a great game, and I think Peter, being our ambassador, I think is doing a wonderful job. Anyway, that's it from Villanova Hall. This is Tom Pizzera from WC-TV. I just got hit in the face with the ball. And so you take it seriously, but also you have a lot of fun. Last but not least, Bill's famous trick shot.
Hello and welcome back to Where's Wilmington. That was so fun looking. I want to go play pickleball right now myself. I just love that. And I love Jill's little outfit. Tell her that's so cute with the little skirt. I thought that was great. So back to the game itself. So the game usually is played to 11 points, Tom?
Yeah, 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what you were showing us was just kind of like an example of how the game is played, right?
If we have like 5 or 6 or 7 players, we play to 7 so that we can rotate the players in because we don't have that much time. We have an hour and a half, maybe tops 2 hours, so we play to 7.
Excellent. Susan, do you play left-handed or right-handed?
I play right-handed and only right-handed.
She plays both hands.
I do not.
Yeah,
there's a lot of you who will go this and this,
yes.
But I'll play with only one hand.
But you stick to one thing.
Yes.
Do you find that when you switch ends, well, it's not ends really, it's sides, because each time a point is you switch sides within the court, right? Yeah. So do you find that you play better on one side of the court than the other? Just curious.
I think most people do have a dominant side.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you come from tennis.
Now this is played inside, so we don't have to worry about sun or glare or anything like that.
Well, we do play outside because that's where I learned was when they set it up at the 4th of July for out in the parking lot, the Swain parking lot.
We put on a demonstration during the 4th of July week in the parking lot, and hopefully to get some new players, and that's where we ran into this beautiful lady. If we only got one, and believe me, that was worth it. But no, in the villages, it's all outdoors, and the problem outdoors is the wind.
Really? Yeah, because the ball's fairly light. Yes.
Yeah, but they'll have like a 10-foot fence with the mesh screening in it, but still the wind plays an awful lot. Has an awful lot to do with the game outdoors.
Now, do you find the game is played the same everywhere you go? Being the ambassador, I guess you would know.
Well, I played in a lot of places.
Broadly based, is it played different in other countries? Because this game is all over the place, not just here.
Yeah, I just saw a video clip on India, and it's really becoming very popular in India.
Right.
I should mention that the ball is a little bit different when you play outside.
Okay.
It's the same kind of ball, but the holes are smaller, and it weighs a little bit heavier. That is because of the wind.
So you have to get used to how the ball feels. Because with tennis, you two are tennis players, that ball's a little bit more dense, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So
and there's no bounce to this, really.
Yeah, so did you find when you first started playing you were really whacking it too hard?
Yeah, and the other thing that you find when beginners are starting to play is they expect the ball to come up like a racket ball or like a tennis ball, and it really doesn't. So you end up bending down a little bit more.
I noticed that from the footage, that you really almost try to volley it back and forth more than a bouncing situation, right?
Well, there's 2 ways to stroke the ball. One is on the bounce, and the other one is in the air, which we call a volley.
Okay.
And after the first 2 bounces, then you can hit it in the air, and that's where the game is usually played. 7 feet on one side of the net and 7 feet on the other side of the net, and most of those are volleys in the air.
Okay.
So it becomes quick and fast and fun.
And that's good. It's a fast-paced game. That's good.
It is.
You want that, I would think. You don't want a lot of lag time in between.
You're right. And we don't want a lot of running around either.
Right, right. Some is good.
Yes.
Now, where do you get all of the supplies for playing this game? I mean, a wiffle ball is pretty easy to come by, but I've never seen these in any stores. Where do you get these?
You send for them. There's a number of pickleball companies that you just send online. Amazon, for one, has a big display of rackets that you can get. There's Pickleball Central, there's Paddle Plus, there's a half dozen sites that you can go.
Now, do you have a particular style, any of you can speak to this, of paddle that you like, or one that you particularly find is better?
She uses an oversized paddle.
You do?
It's only an inch bigger than his.
Okay.
I think there are rules to the dimensions you can, I don't know exactly what dimensions they have, but no, the paddles all pretty much look pretty much the same. The original paddles were laminated wood. And then, obviously, it evolved into this is basically some sort of a graphite or a composite. And as far as the ball goes, it's similar to a wiffle ball.
Right.
It's not a wiffle ball.
But the holes are different.
Well, most wiffle balls have slots in them, as you saw in the video. And it doesn't play true. It's made to do tricks. This ball will not do tricks, it's true, unless the wind gets over.
Or unless Mr. Buckley is serving.
Yes, that's right.
Or
Jim, you know I love you.
You spin it.
Oh yes, or else you try to return one of her backhands, and the ball hits here, but you better be over here to hit it because she's got a lot of.
Now, do you find as you play together in teams that you learn the style of the other person's play, so that you know how somebody
You know that
hits?
you'll get out of Ron's way because he's going to come at you.
Yeah, we have someone in the audience, Ron, a little camera shy. But,
Or you find people who, like Tom, who will immediately be at the top and then go for the angles, which is what you really need to do.
All right. So I guess people are probably wondering why it's called pickleball. Now, I did some research on that, but would you like to tell me, Mr. Ambassador, why it's called pickleball?
Well, actually, there's a couple of stories, but
Right.
you want to hear the real story?
I would like to hear the absolute truth, if
Okay.
you could. Get your pens and papers ready, because we are going to hear the truth of why pickleball
This is the real
called that.
story.
I wish it was named something else,
Me too.
because it's kind of silly.
It
But
is.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was started in 1965 on an island called Bainbridge Island off the coast of Seattle. And it was a gentleman who was a congressman, I believe, who was sitting around with his kids, and they became fairly rambunctious. So he found a ping pong paddle, and he found a wiffle ball, and he created a net out of a badminton net, and he started playing what he later called pickleball. And the reason it was called pickleball is because out in the West Coast, when you row, the people that are left over and don't have a boat to go to all go into one boat. And so that's called the pickle boat.
That's not what I would call it.
I know.
I would call that abandoned ship. That sounds like the Titanic. All right, they call that the pickle.
They call that the pickle boat.
Well, I guess you're in a pickle, actually,
Right.
so that makes sense.
So
All
they
right.
take a lot of people from different boats.
Okay.
And in pickleball, we took a lot of things from different sports.
Okay.
Kind of like a baseball wiffle ball,
Right.
kind of like a ping pong paddle. The
Right.
net is a little bit lower, but like a tennis net.
Right.
So that's where
Are the
it came.
dimensions of the court similar to tennis? Is it fairly close to? No, different? It's different.
It's the same size as a badminton court.
Okay.
The court is 22 feet wide and 40 feet long. And then on either side of the net, there's a line 7 foot on either side of the net, which is within that zone, that's referred to as the no volley zone.
Right.
And what it means is, and we explained it in the video, but
Right.
we haven't here. You can go up to that line, and you can't hit a volley, which is a ball in the air that hasn't bounced in front of that line.
Okay.
If you do, you fault it. If the ball bounces in the no-fault zone, non-volley zone, sorry, you can step in and hit it. But if you hit it up high and you don't get back out, and they hit it at you, you can't hit it while you're in there in the air, and it'll be a point for the other.
Now, you said there was more than one pickleball story, or did you? Because I know another one.
Well, I have a suggestion about paddles.
Okay, you can do that. Go right ahead.
I made the mistake of buying for my friend Marjorie a paddle that said wide body on it. So you
For
want
a woman,
yes,
you bought something
yes,
that said
yes,
wide body.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Has the pickleball hit you in
Yes,
the head a
yes,
few times?
yes.
All right.
That's a big mistake. So I would
Yeah.
advise any men not to buy their favorite woman a wide body
Yes, that is an
pickleball racket.
excellent tip. I
Yes,
appreciate that.
yes.
I had heard that this was named pickleball because the ball was their dog's ball, and their dog's name was Pickles, so they called it Pickles Ball, and then they changed it to pickleball. That's what I heard.
That is one of the stories, but you heard the true one here
I heard the truth
tonight.
from you. All right. So what would you say, Susan, to someone who's thinking about playing and is maybe a little bit apprehensive that they might not have
They should
you know,
come down
enough
because
energy
we can
to
certainly.
play?
Oh, there's no issue there,
Really?
really. I think that people should come. Exercise is a really good thing. We will
Right.
certainly encourage you and teach you how to play, and we won't make it too hard at first.
Right, and there's no fee, so you have nothing to lose.
Not yet.
Now,
No,
if you don't have paddles, I mean, the ball I'm sure you guys bring, but if you don't have your own paddle to bring along, are there usually ones
There are
you
usually
can
paddles
borrow?
around, and all of us will let somebody borrow one.
Okay.
Tom was very good to let me borrow one.
Yeah,
for a while.
I have 4 paddles. The reason I have 4 is that when I go to Florida, sometimes in the evening when the courts are empty, I'll go down with the family members, and you need 4 to play the game.
Right.
And so by having 4, when we get a new player, I'll let them use one of my paddles till they decide whether they like the game, and then they all obviously buy
Excellent.
their own, and
How
off we go.
long do you think it takes? I know it's different for everybody, but to learn the actual rules and the play of the game. It looked like it was a pretty quick learning
Can I
curve.
answer that
yes,
question?
Yes, please do, Tom.
This lady came the very first day and was telling people whose serve it was, what the score was.
Did
she
you already
learned
know?
Immediately.
Did you know the game already?
No.
But you just picked
amazing.
it up.
It was amazing.
Yes,
There's a
she
caveat
did.
here.
Wow.
She did.
I taught phys ed,
Oh, okay.
so
Well,
I've taught a lot of games. So.
You
Okay.
taught pickleball?
No.
No, see, but you will now. You'll be able to.
But
now.
I mean, I don't mean the talent to play the game.
Right.
She immediately absorbed the rules and the score. And believe me, when a beginner starts, they get totally confused on whose serve
Right.
it
Don't
is
step
and what
over the blue
score
line.
is.
Oops, I
Right,
stepped over
right.
the blue line. That
That's
would be
right.
what I would be worried about, stepping over the line. Who sets up the court? I saw you at the end in the video pulling everything apart. Do you guys put all that blue tape down so you know exactly where you are, or is the court already set up that way?
It's set up that way.
The blue tape was simply painter's tape. We
Oh, okay.
put that down a long time ago, and that stays there. The only thing that moves is that portable net, which we bought on the internet, and it's a fabulous
pretty
setup.
quick
and,
setup.
and it's nothing to it, and it holds nice and tight.
And how long do you generally play? Are they called matches?
Games.
How many games do you usually play?
We usually start at between 3 and 3:30, and we usually wrap it up right after 5 o'clock, you know.
Okay.
So.
And that gives everybody enough of a chance.
Depending on,
Right.
if we have like 4 players, so you're playing all the
Right.
time, we just keep going around. One person moves, the other takes his place. If we have 6, we'll play to 7, 2 will leave, and 2 will come in. And we just keep doing that. We don't really have teams, not here in Wilmington anyway.
No, we just rotate partners, and
Okay.
somebody gets a short straw now and then.
Okay.
What I think's worth talking about too is the people that play pickleball.
All right.
Being an ambassador, I go to a lot of different places where they play.
Right.
People aren't that competitive at pickleball. I mean, some are, but few are.
Oh, I saw the eyebrow. Suzanne is competitive. She'll teach you, but she won't teach you how to beat her.
Yeah, you know, I think we should invent a new word. We're what we call fun competitive.
Okay.
You saw Peter in the outtake where he missed the ball and he faked he was upset. But
Right. That
but
you were
no,
faking that upset, right,
Yes,
Pete?
yeah, that was
Okay.
put on. Yeah.
Excellent.
although there's Ron.
Okay. Are we going to get some more inside information?
No, Ron gets mad at himself. He
Okay.
gets upset.
Well, I mean, yeah, some of this it actually is somewhat competitive, but some of it really has to do with your own skill.
Yes.
Are there ways to practice the game without having a partner to play? I know with tennis you can, hit it against the backboard type of thing. Is there anything you could do to strengthen your game when you're not playing, do you think?
Well, I just started teaching at Reading Rec Department.
Okay. Oh, great.
And what I had the first day is just for people to take the paddle
Mm-hmm.
and just bounce the ball. Just to get used to the sound
let's see.
and to the
I
bounce.
can do it. All right. Just throw it. Hey, I'm
That's it.
in.
You're
I'm
in.
in. When do you guys play?
You're ready to pickle.
Then
Uh-oh.
start.
Oh, yeah. She's got to show off, of course. But you're not competitive. That's awesome.
Man,
So
And
that's
it's a
one
nice
thing.
little sound. I
outta
like the sound it makes.
a crack.
Very it's a nice therapeutic sound to
Well,
the game.
some
Yeah.
some people describe it that way.
All
Other
right. Now, do you guys have referees, or is it just a friend?
we should sometime.
on a code.
I mean, how do you how do you keep track if
We cheat a
it's
lot. I
out?
mean,
no,
you
it's
know.
not out. How do you?
We
If somebody
cheat.
doesn't remember the score, you can tell them what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure you will too, Suzanne.
Actually, the people who make the call
Yes.
are the ones that are closest, and their call goes.
Okay.
So if it's a question of is it out or did it hit a line, whoever's closest makes the call, and that's the call.
Okay. Now, is this game played the same everywhere it's played? I know some games, in other countries it's played a little differently. Do you happen to know if pickleball is pretty much standardized throughout everywhere it's played?
Yes, it is. Every place that I've seen videos on, it's the same.
And I know they have an association. Some people are very serious about this. This is a very serious
yeah.
thing. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because I
Yes.
saw a lot of organizations that were online that you could join and learn more about it. So.
Well, beginning November 11th in Buckeye, Arizona, they're having the national championships.
Are you going to go to that?
No, but I was in Arizona a couple of weeks ago, and it's very, very big in Arizona.
Excellent.
Mostly outdoor pickleball.
Good. Well, is there anything else you guys would like us to know? First of all, who do we contact to get to play the game, or maybe just to go see it? Maybe you don't want to play the first time; you just like to see how it's run. How do we get in touch with somebody to join your little group? Should we call you, email you? What should we do?
As I said, we're at Villanova Hall Monday through Thursday most of the time.
Okay.
If you live in Wilmington, if you don't want to call anybody. You can call me or get in touch with the station. Just drive by. If you see a bunch of cars there and the door's open, we're usually playing. If you're from out of town, you should probably call me at WCTV.
Okay, so that's 978-657-4066. We'll put that on the screen. Just ask for Tom Pizzera and tell him you want to play pickleball. That ought to be fun messages for me to take during the day.
Yeah, and the thing
I'd like
is,
to play that pickle game. Can you put me in touch with the guy? Okay.
we'd love to have people to come as we can show the game. As I said, Peter runs clinics, and sometimes you get people and sometimes you don't.
Right.
I'd like to put a plug in for Reading Rec too.
Yeah.
If people are interested and want to be a part of just the beginner crowd, then they would go through readingrec.com and sign up for pickleball.
And so if they were unable to sign up, you will be there so they can come down and meet with you and talk with you too if they're not ready to do that. And is there a fee for the Reading Rec program?
It's $5 per session.
That's cheap. How many sessions usually in a series?
Well, beginners develop at different rates. Suzanne, like Tom said, developed the first day within an hour. Some people are playing within a couple of hours.
Suzanne. Okay, a couple hours. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else anybody would like to say or you want folks to know? Tom, you want to add something?
No, it's just that I fell in love with the game in Florida.
Right.
It's great. I mean, we're very fortunate to have Villanova Hall. I should make a plug to St. Thomas for letting us use that facility. Hopefully that'll continue. In the summer, in fact, I'd like to appeal to the town. I think they're going to redo a couple of the tennis courts in town, like the North Intermediate, which was in a very tough shape. I'd like to see if we could make them add a couple of pickleball courts there. 2 pickleball courts basically don't take up much more room than 1 tennis court. And there's a lot of us who want to play, and they already have lights there. So in the summer, in the evening, would probably be a wonderful thing.
Okay, so it's November-ish, December-ish now, so I figure by the time the school's done in about 2 or 3 years, no, I'm teasing. As soon as the school's done, you probably will have enough people on your team to actually merit doing that. So that's great.
Well, I think they're in the process. I've lost track of when this is going to happen, but I think they're in the process of redoing the North Intermediate tennis courts. I'm not positive, but it would be nice if there was a facility for us, and that already has lights, and no one's been using that, as far as I can see, for quite some time. It was in tough shape.
Seems like an easy wish to grant.
Well, maybe I'll have to talk to somebody and see if I can get something happening.
And Suzanne, anything you'd like to tell maybe ladies or gentlemen that are watching? I can see that. You guys are a nice group of people.
We have a lot of laughs, and you have to have a thick skin because if you start mocking somebody, it'll come right back to you.
Okay, I'll remember that. And you obviously enjoy the game quite a bit.
We do.
How long have you guys all been playing? I mean, together you've been playing a couple years, right? Because
she joined us after the 4th of July.
Wow. Okay.
This is my 3rd year.
Okay.
But I never played all year long. I would play in Florida and not play here. And we started playing here 2 years ago, and Villanova Hall was probably a year.
Wow, so when you go down to Florida this year, you're going to kick some butt on the court, because you've been playing up here.
No,
yes, he will.
Not really.
Yes, he will.
When you go to Florida, there's an awful lot of players in Florida, and all different levels.
We found that out the hard way.
We did.
Oh, did you guys go to Florida and play?
No, we played in the Granite State games.
Yes.
I had been playing for all of a month, and Peter needed a partner.
Oh, and how was that?
We played in the New Hampshire Senior Games. We actually won.
We did win. We did win.
Well, that's good.
But then we ran up against a couple from Florida who have been playing for 10 years.
Oh.
And it was
a little humbling.
It was not pretty.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty.
I see that. Well, anything else you'd like to add before we close today? Thank you guys for coming. It was a lot of fun, and it's really good to learn about something somewhat new. It's not really new, but new maybe to our viewership. So.
And new to this area.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching Where's Wilmington. We've had the pickleball people on tonight, Peter Sullivan, Suzanne Crooker, and Tom Pizzera. And we want to thank you for watching and remind you that the next time somebody asks you where's Wilmington, you tell them right here and right here on WCTV. We'll see you next time. Get out your paddles and play.